This shit's so messed up. First word out of my mouth is a swear word. But I do have a cup of reparations. And that's about the only thing that's normal this morning. Holy shnikes. Been having some technical issues this morning, and I end up having to reset the stream key, just change everything, and now it still says I'm having problems. Check the video resolution. Well, I might be fuzzy, or who knows? I'll fix this crap later. Good morning. Welcome here. I'm just going to play the intro because I've got nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, Dawg Knight. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet, and welcome to this messed up day where I can't even get this crap rolling. Anyway, and I'm competing with Crowder and Monkey at the same time, which, I am finally here. Thanks to those of you who have made it back. I appreciate you bearing with me on this lovely Monday, the 8th of March, 2021. Yes, did I say I'm Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet. Welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. And boy, y'all are troopers if you hung in for that mess. So I've been trying to stream since I was on time. Let's just put it that way. And now I'm half past the hour, still trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Hopefully those of you who, I see some of you have also tweeted out now that I'm back to normal. Thank you, Maddie, Tyler F., Zach Osborne, and everybody else. So, good Lord, what a morning. Thank you, Joe Dirt, early on the sponsorship trail. Very much appreciated. It says, good morning, Dawg Knight. Love your work, my friend. Check out Drexel's show, MGTOWN sometime. Yeah, I did check out Drexel. And it was pretty good. Let's see if I can find, I'm just going to do a little search here. Because I did, not Drexel University, Drexel MGTOWN podcast. There it is. I did check out, wait a minute. Oh, Drexel versus Gorilla Guru. Okay, is that what I'm looking for? MGTOWN podcast? All right, I'm just gonna, because there's also, who's the dude that, there's someone named Drexel. Is that the same dude? It probably is. All right, I'm gonna just bookmark this real quick and make sure, oops, I don't want this playing. Let's just pause that. Okay, this is the cartoonist Drexel. Is that the same Drexel that shows up? I think it's the same guy. Anyway, okay, I got it here. I'm going to just put this off to the side right now. In fact, why don't I just do this? We'll click that. We're going to put that right there so I can find it later. I will check that out. Thank you very much. Drexel's the dude. He was on someone else's show once, and listened to a long thing from him and talking on someone else's podcast. There you go, podcast. And I pretty good. I probably should listen to Drexel more. I wanted to invite Drexel here too. Someone had suggested that, and maybe we'll make that happen sometimes. He's also sometimes our Akita stream. Yeah, that's where I know him from, Akita stream. So I see him every once in a while. Anyway, let's say good morning to who's here and you know what? I can't even remember. I can't even remember who was first today. So this is just the bell for everybody. For those of you who came back and are not watching something else that you could be watching other than me, because, sometimes when you have these kinds of problems, you just go, what the hell? What the hell? By the way, I don't know why, but I've been kind of binging on old wrestling video. Don't ask me why. Old, like going back to like AWA and what's Texas Southern Wrestling, and the when WCW was still like something South Wrestling, and old Andre the Giant, and like Hulk Hogan's original match in the AWA, and it's kind of been kind of fun. It kind of goes down memory lane because that's, you know, when I was a kid, I watched wrestling all the time. The AWA, Vern Gagne, and the High Flyers, and Ivan Putski, and Mad Dog Vachon, and who else was there? The Claw, Baron Von Raschke, and Junkyard Dog. Those are all guys back from the old AWA. And in fact, my dad used to teach school with what's his name? Baron Von Raschke. And I couldn't remember his name because I met him when I was little, and then he got into wrestling, and you know, then he was traveling all over because he became a pretty famous wrestler, and he even lasted into the WWF era as just the Baron, and I think it was more of a manager when he was in WWF. But yeah, those days were kind of fun, and I've just been watching a lot of old YouTube videos of wrestlers, man. It was kind of fun. But who was it the Von Erichs? Was that Mid-South Wrestling? They were out of Texas. And then, but the big ones were obviously WCW, World Championship Wrestling, and that turned into, I can't remember what that turned into, but then there was the early days of the AWA back in the day, and then kind of the AWA kind of got bought out or somehow, because all of a sudden it was the WWF, and McMahon bought it out a bunch of different leagues and went national, and like you'd go on TNT and it'd be WCW, and then you'd go on USA and it'd be WWF, and they kind of had their battles, and really the good, I mean, the real WCW kind of was blowing them out of the water for a while, and then they got new management and World Class Wrestling. That's right, that's what the Von Erichs were. But then all of a sudden their storylines got really weird, and WWF kind of took over the scene completely. So anyway, it was kind of cool. Anyway, hi. Just on a ramble. I wanted to talk about this Blue Anon thing because I think it's hilarious. It's a hilarious term, and I'm going to start using that all the time. And I was wondering if it was because I used that name in my title, if that's why I couldn't get a stream go up. But then I think I figured out it was just the stream, what do you call it? Stream key. Apparently my stream key went bad, and I could not stream in that key. So I changed it over. But now obviously my resolutions are messed up because I'm kind of fuzzy there, I think. Or I don't know how clear you can see me. It looks pretty good in this monitor though. I don't know. How's everybody doing? We're done with the weekend. I hope everyone had a decent weekend. Mine consisted of just hanging out with my wife. It was kind of enjoyable. It was very enjoyable because we went out. Well, we went out for lunch and made it an afternoon of it on Saturday, having cocktails just most of the afternoon, just doing nothing. We had no plans, and that's really rare in this house, even with just the two of us left, you know, because my kids are obviously moved out, and suddenly having no plans can be very enjoyable. So we just hung out at one of our favorite spots most of the afternoon, and then we came home and watched movies all night. And then yesterday we took my mother-in-law out for lunch, which was great. And my son met us at the place because we were down by where my son-in-law lives in Minneapolis. So we called him, and he joined us and had a nice lunch, and then came home and did some cleaning, did some stuff, ran around and ran some errands. But basically a decent weekend when you don't have just an actual plan. Your head is tilted just right. You look like you've got a halo. Oh, when I do this, where is it? Oh, well, the halo's gone because the scene changes. But anyway, having the concept of super straight is Super gay, the irony there. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of just effery going on out there. Let's say good morning to everybody, though. I never did get to that. Good morning, Jonas Pedersen. Good morning to the one who, Asan, Maddie, good morning, Gunfox61. So, what number are we on, 6 or 7? Yeah, this is like the 7th stream we opened. And I've deleted all those ones that didn't work. Good morning, Avocados Diabli, Special Can Acid, Somnambule Nation, Renee Mayette, Tyler F. Good morning to Chicago Mike. Let's see, who haven't I hit there yet? Oh, Joe Dirt, thank you again for sponsoring the show, the first sponsor of the day. Also, good morning to Uncle Bad Touch is in the house.
Come on, man.
We know who you really are. Good morning, Zach Osborne. Fight for your rights. Katie did skate. Let's see who else. Sergeant Salter. That almost sounds like Sergeant Slaughter. Sergeant Slaughter was he kind of came about at the end of the AWF, but his big thing, he was big in the WWF when the WWF first started getting really big. He was huge. Sergeant Slaughter and the Iron Sheik, although the Iron Sheik also was in the AWA. Gosh, there was all kinds of Ivan, or who was the Russian dude, big Russian dude. Can't remember his name, but he was there was a whole bunch of them. Anyway, back into wrestling. Also, good morning, Infamous One. Good morning. Let's see. I'm scrolling down. Looks like I'm caught up. This is Maddie Kessler. Good morning. How you doing, my friend? Nice to see you back. And Sapphire Dragon, and that's pretty much everybody. Yeah, it's good. Probably going to be a smaller crowd today. All my competitors are on right now too. So anyway, Derek Chauvin hearing. Oh yeah, I live in the Twin Cities, and today they're starting with jury selection in the Derek Chauvin case, and that should be just a lovely thing. Thank you, Scribe Light, for tweeting out the show. I don't know if you're here, but I appreciate you doing that as always. So the title today, Blue Anon. Blue Anon was trending over the weekend. I thought it was hilarious, and then suddenly, it was like trending like number one, and then suddenly it went away because I don't think the people at Twitter appreciated the Blue Anon hashtag, but I found it hilarious because it was, and partially because, well, I don't know if who made it up, but let me just go on here real quick because I have a bookmark here that's showing you the definition of Blue Anon for those who are curious. Ivan Koloff. Yes, Ivan Koloff. That's it. No, Drago was the character in Rocky 4. Rocky 4 or Rocky 5? I think Rocky 4. The Russian from Rocky 4. Because Rocky 3 was Clubber Lang, Rocky 4 was the Russian dude, and then Rocky 5, I can't remember who was Rocky 5. Was that Tommy Morrison? Anyway. Scribe my okay, Rob. I don't know what that means. Anyway, but here's the definition of Blue Anon. Okay, just a second here. Here we go. Blue Anon, a loosely organized network of Democratic voters, politicians, and media personalities who spread left-wing conspiracy theories such as the Russian hoax, Jussie Smollett hoax, the Ukraine hoax, Covington Kids hoax, and Brett Kavanaugh hoax. Blue Anon adherents fervently believe that right-wing extremists are going to storm the Capitol Hill any day now and remove lawmakers from office, hence the need for deployment of thousands of National Guard stationed at the U.S. Capitol. So that is what Blue Anon is. And one of the funniest Blue Anon posts this weekend came from our friend Brooklyn Dad Defiant. Okay, that dude that basically his whole strategy, his whole business strategy was oh no, did he delete it? It's not in my bookmarks anymore. I wonder if he deleted it. Oh no, that would be a true bummer if he deleted that. Let me hang on a second. Let me check it. Let me see. I think I actually replied to him. Because he came up with a doozy, which I found hilarious. And please tell me he didn't delete it though. Oh, here it is. So this is like huge blue and on right here. Listen to this. I'm gonna put this on there so you can see it. I'm gonna make that bigger too, so that we want to make sure you get this in this full glory. That really doesn't sound right, does it? But anyway, so here's our friend Brooklyn Dad Defiant, who says the only person who could pardon Trump from a conviction in New York is the governor. Kind of makes you wonder about timing. So what this dude is talking about here is that he thinks that the scandals with the women coming out of the woodwork to give to mess with Andrew Cuomo has something to do with Trump. Now remember, that guy, again, his business model very similar to the Krasensteins. He spent his last 4 years making sure that he was one of the first people to respond to Trump every time Trump tweeted. So he had literally every time. I think they competed to be the first one because he was always one of the first 2 or 3. Basically spent his whole 4 years. Must have had the notifications ready and just ready to pounce every time Trump tweeted. And he was kind of, I gotta respect his game because he has 895,000 followers on Twitter, although he's following 42. And he's the author of The Littlest President, a book that supposedly he wrote. And that's like, you can see it on the, in fact, here's his Twitter bio right here. Apparently he wrote some satire book about President Trump, but I mean, just how, oh, I didn't show it to you, did I? Here, hang on. That's his Twitter bio. Proud Papa, perpetually pissed, just the resistance, BLM, go Joe. This guy's a joke. Anyway, he's very proud of his stuff. But anyway, so speaking of, now when I saw this thing blue and non, I was thinking, holy shit, this is fascinating because I found this article in the Independent, which I should never even pay attention to the Independent either. They're kind of, my understanding is that the Independent is related to the New York Times, but they basically are based out of London, but they're owned by the New York Times. So they do a lot of American news, and they have this. So they showed me this thing that about this former neo-Nazi recruiter saying Fox News has radicalized so many Americans, and this seems to be one of those blue conspiracy theories. So this guy, former self-described white supremacist, has said that Fox News is radicalizing its viewers. Now, what cracks me up about this article, okay, they got this guy who, when he was 16 years old, okay, he was supposedly a white supremacist, radical, neo-Nazi type. His name is, what's his name? Something Mink. Frank Meeink. Okay, and here's the article. So, speaking on CNN, ex-neo-Nazi recruiter Frank Meeink warned of the growing problem of domestic terrorism in the U.S. following January's deadly Capitol riots. Now, I gotta ask y'all something here because this is fascinating. That sentence, the growing problem of domestic terrorism in the U.S. following January's deadly Capitol riots. What's wrong with that sentence? Who can tell me what's wrong with that sentence? It seems to me, first one, following January's deadly Capitol riots, well, yeah, there were people who died at the Capitol riots, and that was not a good thing. And but the growing problem of domestic terrorists. Now, we keep hearing about the growing problem, this really weird thing about of domestic terrorism, right? Okay. Anybody give me an example? They keep talking about it. They keep the fences up. They keep the National Guard in D.C. But where is it? What events are they talking about? Because remember, January 6th, 2 months ago, 2 months and a couple of days, depending on how you count February. Where is it? You can't see me? Oh, no, you can see. Oh, I'm not sure you mean when you see me. Where is it? I don't know. So, and then, of course, and then January Deadly Riots. We'll get into that in a minute. Asked what's driving this extremism, Mink told presenter, now you can tell that it's a British because they call her a presenter, Pamela Brown, quote, "It's fear and narcissism and that fake patriotism that's just nationalism wrapped up again with worshiping an idol." So they're talking about Trump, I'm sure. Fox News, though. Fox News has completely radicalized so many Americans. If you look at Fox News and then you compare that to hate radio from Rwanda, and what started that civil war, there's comparisons there. Really? I'm not feeling it. But he continues, we have to know that a lot of our fellow Americans, fellow children of God, have been radicalized by a network of news that, as a former radical, I can tell you from watching Fox News all day, I can show you where they're saying radical stuff that I used to say. Good morning, Mike. Mike Savage Blarg. Good morning, Midnight in Exile. Good morning, Renee Mayette. And Avocados Diablo, the Devil's Advocate. Hello. So now this guy's becoming an expert because he's a former whatever he is. Now let's think about this for a second. So they're giving this guy a platform to say what they want to say. You know what I'm saying? They're giving this guy. So here's the Mediaite article that the Independent is referencing. If it ever pops up here, my tabs are all messed up since I had to restart the computer. Come on. Well, let's do it. Oops. Well, let's do it this way. We'll go back to this click here. Where's the Mediaite article? Oh, shoot. Well, here we go. Thank you, Chicago Mike, by the way, who says, I don't like Fox News, therefore Fox News is evil. Yeah, that's about it. Now, what's really, really, really fascinating, and then this guy, okay, according to an episode of NPR's Fresh Air, Mink was a notorious skinhead at the age of 16. Okay, he was a notorious at age 16. Fascinating. Hello, Sean. How you doing? Nice to see you. But left the racist movement after being sent to prison and instead became an educator about his experience. So in 2010, he published his book, Autobiography of a Recovering Skinhead, about extremism. And then he says his comments came after FBI Director Christopher Wray warned that the Capitol riots were not an isolated event. Really? Seems to me they're far more isolated than some of the other rioting and destruction that have been going on around the country for the last year. I guess. What happened? I had this there literally. Where the... Okay, hang on. I thought for sure... Okay, no. Whenever I clicked, white supremacy and a picture of Bill O'Reilly popped up. Where is this Mediaite article that this came from, though? Oh, they must have changed the links in here because there was a whole Mediaite article that they referenced when they started this, and now it's not doing it. So for whatever reason, and I'm not going to go to Mediaite, but Mediaite had the article. Anyway, oh, it's from here. Here we go. So they have this. Now this is where they put up this tweet by someone named Cliff W. Please don't contact Cliff W. By the way. Frank Meeting's former neo-Nazi recruiter told CNN's Pamela Brown he thought Fox News had completely radicalized many Americans, accusing them of rhetoric similar to the same radical stuff he used to say. Well, I'm sure Frank's is the ultimate expert on this, right? This is because this is very important that we bring on this guy, Frank Meink or whatever. And so then this goes to this article from Mediaite, which shows the, which has the, let's fix that there. Former neo-Nazi accuses Fox News of radical. So they have this one guy and he's getting played all over media in various forms on Mediaite and then Twitter and then on The Independent, where they got their article from. Frank Meek, a former neo-Nazi recruiter, told CNN's Pamela Brown he thought Fox News had completely radicalized many Americans, accused them of rhetoric similar to the same radical stuff. So this guy's the expert because he's some former neo-Nazi, right? And but I'm thinking to myself, he was a neo-Nazi back when he was 16, right? Well, wait a minute. Let's look at the guy now, because I think this might actually be the video that from him on CNN. Remember, this is when he was 16, 18, then he went to prison. I don't want to hear the commercial. Oh, turn the commercial off, please. Please turn this commercial off. There, okay. Now, look at the guy in this interview. Think about it. When he was 16 to 18, then he went to prison, and then he got out of prison, and then he's become a kind of the left-wing dude, right? But here he is when he was 16 years old.
For violent crimes.
Oh, yes.
Since he's been dedicated to fighting racism and extremism. Last September, he even testified before Congress about how to do it.
Great.
Frank Meek joins me now. And
look out now. Frank Meek is pretty gray here. And in fact, if you look up Frank Meek, which I did, I had to look him up here. This is let's talk about Frank Meek here. We'll get back to that thing. Frank's violent childhood in South Philadelphia primed him to hate. He made easy prey for a small group of skinhead recruiters. And at 14, he shaved his head. By 17, Frank was hosting a cable access show. He had his own cable access show even. Good morning, Scotty Dubs. Good morning, Jada Demerol. Good morning, Check Your Logic. His show is called The Reich. Wow. It's not giving any timeline here, though. I want to find the timeline, but we'll get to that in just a second. By 18, he was doing hard time in an Illinois prison. In prison, he befriended men he used to think he hated, men of different races. Out of prison, Meek tried to rejoin his old skinhead pals, but he couldn't bring himself to hate those he knew to be his friends. A Jewish doctor offered to get rid of his neo-Nazi tattoos covering much of his body. Behind bars, Frank began to question his hatred thanks in large part to his African-American teammates on a prison football league. Shortly after being paroled, Frank defected from the white supremacy movement. Oklahoma City bombing inspired... Now remember, the Oklahoma City bombing inspired him to try and stop the hatred he had once felt. Think about this. When was the Oklahoma City bombing? Oklahoma City bombing. What was the date? It was 1991, 92? Let's see here. That was April 19th, 1995. So this guy, Frank Meek, before 1995 was already at least, well, let's see, 1995, at least in his 20s, because he was a skinhead at 18, 16, 18, went to prison, and then the Oklahoma City bombing, right? So that came later. So this guy's probably in his 50s, right? Now, do you know anyone? Well, let's find out how old Frank is. Maybe let's Frank Meek. Let's go to the wiki page. Let's see how old Frank is, if there is a wiki page on him. Thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite, for being a sponsor of the show. Hot. Let's see. By the way.
That's right.
And oh, by the way, you are
the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
I wish I had a way to track that with YouTube too. But anyway, Black Hebrew Israelite, thank you. I thought this show was about Blue Apron and why their overpriced food sucks.
That's right.
No, Blue Anon. Anyway, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was International Women's Day. Happy International Women's Day to all the womans out there. We do appreciate you. Anyway, so thank you, Black Hebrews Light, by the way. Okay, so let's see. Born May 7, 1975. So he was a skinhead when he was 16, roughly 1990. And then he gets out of prison, and after he's basically just a liberal, lefty, whatever. And probably is Me Too and Resist and every other liberal hashtag there can be. But he was once a skinhead. Good. I'm glad he converted from that. But why is this guy... why do they have him on CNN to talk about how bad Fox News is? Oh, wait a minute. CNN's new business model is to bitch about Fox News, right? And their agenda right now to see if they can get Fox News taken off the cable networks, right? So they bring in some former guy when he was a dumbass before before his brain even worked, before his frontal lobe developed, and he was a dumbass kid, skinhead, dumb F. And then after that, he makes some black friends in prison. So now he's, got rid of that idea, and he's had 20 some years to become whatever he is now. And they're making it like, oh, this guy's an expert on whether or not Fox News is radicalizing you. Really? Well, first of all, he looks kind of, what the hell? Let's watch this interview.
It's called Autobiography of a Recovering Skinhead.
Okay.
Frank, thank you so much for coming on. I first want to ask you, regarding this arrested Trump appointee, he had a top secret clearance. He presumably...
Okay, now, first of all... So they call this... They're going to talk about this guy who's a Trump appointee. Let's see, where is it down here? Because that's what a lot of this is about. There was apparently some guy that was at the rally... we don't even know if he went in the building, but he was there, okay? Probably in his off-duty time. Let's see. It's in here somewhere. Well, anyway, someone from some department. Now, I laugh because they call him a Trump appointee. But in another article that I'm reading, they don't say... Okay, here we go. Brown opened up the segment mentioning the recent news that a man arrested for his allegations during the January 6th Capitol insurrection was an appointee in the administration of former President Donald Trump. Now, interesting. They have a link here too. Okay, breaking. State Department By the way, this is all blue anon to me. All of this is blue anon. And it's basically, again, if you want a definition of blue anon, I'll bring that back again. Thank you, the one who says Das Reich, as opposed to
That's right.
Anyway, thank you to the one who, formerly known as the one who tubes. So apparently, okay, this Trump State Department appointee arrested for alleged participation in Capitol insurrection. Freddie Klein. Federico, what kind of a name is that? What the hell kind of a name is that? Oh yes, I forgot. Armed insurrection. Anyway, okay, so now let me ask you this. Does this sound like somebody who was appointed by Trump? I'm curious here. A former Trump State Department staffer was arrested in Virginia by the FBI on Thursday for his alleged participation in the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, according to a report by Politico. Klein, age 42, worked as a, quote, tech analyst, end quote, on former President Donald Trump's 2016 campaign, earning $15,000 that year and $5,000 in 2017, as shown on FEC records. A former colleague of Klein's told Politico that Klein's work for the State Department began in the Office of Brazilian and Southern Cone Affairs, and he was later transferred to the office that handles responses to Freedom of Information requests. Freedom Information Act request. Klein is the first known Trump administration political appointee to be charged with participating in the Capitol riot. Political Josh Gerstein reached Klein's mother, Cecilia Klein, by telephone Thursday evening, and she said she and her son had differing political views and therefore usually abstained from discussing political topics, but he had confirmed that he had been in the area that day. As far as I know, he was on the mall. That's what he told me, she said. Fred's politics burn a little hot, but I've never known him to violate the law. She described her impression of their conversation that her son did not enter the Capitol building, but did not remember if he specifically denied doing so. Klein himself did not reply to requests for comments. He is now among the more than 300 people who have been charged for their alleged criminal actions on January 6th. And then but charges ranging. Okay, why are they giving the charges ranging from misdemeanors to like entering a restricted area to more serious felonies like assaulting a police officer with a dangerous weapon? The exact charges against Klein have not been made public. Does he sound like someone who is specifically appointed by the president himself? A tech analyst. A tech analyst. Oh, okay, wait. And then he was later. Wait a minute. He used to work for the State Department, began in the Office of Brazilian and Southern Cone Affairs. That just sounds like the kind of appointment that the president himself would make sure to appoint. You know, what is this called? The Office of Brazilian and Southern Cone Affairs, and he was later transferred to the office that handles responses to Freedom of Information Act requests. Yep, I am sure that Donald Trump himself appointed this man to that position and then personally transferred him to handle Freedom of Information Act requests. But this is the guy that these two are talking about.
Background checks. What does that tell you about this election conspiracy movement and who it attracts?
It tells you nothing. Wait a minute. Listen to her question again.
Trump appointee. He had a top secret clearance. He presumably passed government background checks. What does that tell you about this election?
Top secret clearance? Wait a minute. Why? Okay, let's see. Office that handles responses to Freedom of Information Act requests. Is that why he had a top secret clearance? I am so confused. And what does it say? What is her question, though? Her question again.
He presumably passed government background checks.
He presumably passed government background checks. Listen to the question.
What does that tell you about this election conspiracy movement and who it attracts?
It tells you nothing at all. But in these people's minds, Blue Anon, that's everything. Oh, goodness. Breaking news. Jury selection in the Chauvin trial delayed until at least tomorrow. Yeah, I am concerned. My wife has to work down in that area, and I just can't. I'm not excited about that. Anyway, it tells you nothing. Holy crap. Anyway, let's go. Hi, Snoopy.
Well, this attracts, fortunately for us, it's attracting idol worshipers, which we should know that God's against that, so we're going to let that take care of that. But where we need...
Okay. According to him, because this guy has a job in the State Department handling Freedom of Information Act requests, he says this attracts idol worshipers. Say what? Okay.
Need to worry about is where this extremism is in our police force. That's the biggest concern we have to look at right now. How many police charged that building? How many police officers couldn't make it because they were on duty that day? Like, there's a lot we need to look at in the policing, because I think that keeps the wound of America's civil rights open. The wound is from mostly police activity right now. So I think for us to stop the radicalization, we need to stop giving America red meat to fight over.
Oh my God.
Like true, real police.
You mean like Capitol insurrection? Oh, wait a minute. Insurrection? You don't think that gives people red meat too?
Reform.
Okay, and I know you're now a supporter of Black Lives Matter movement. That is a separate issue, and I don't know that there's any data or specific facts to back up what you just said, but
none. He's just making it up. He's pulling it straight out of his hind parts, in the immortal words of Coach whatever his name in Remember the Titans. He's pulling it right out of your John Brown hind parts. Coach Boone, remember?
What I want to go to is talk about this election conspiracy movement and what we heard from FBI Director Christopher Wray outlining the urgency of combating domestic extremism this week. Let's listen to what he said.
Yeah, let's talk to Chris Wray. Yay. Yay.
January 6th was not an isolated event.
Really? Where are the rest of the events, Chris? Just curious. Where are they at, Chris? Where are they at? Because I could tell you some other things that aren't isolated events, but nope, we're not going there.
The problem of domestic terrorism has been metastasizing across the country for a long time now.
Has it?
It's not going away anytime soon. At the FBI, we've been sounding the alarm on it for a number of years now.
Well, and?
So the acting Capitol Police Chief says some of the same extremists involved in the January 6th attack want to blow up the Capitol when President Biden addresses Congress. Has this type
Whoa. Blow up the Capitol. Blow up the I've heard that before. Oh, no, not the Capitol, the White House. That was Madonna. That's who they should be. They should have Madonna in handcuffs. Oh, my God. Let's keep going.
Of extremists reached a new level in your view? And if so, what is driving it?
Wait a minute. Again, think about who this woman is talking to right now. This guy's, other than his own personal story, why is this guy an expert? He's literally just some guy who turned his life around. Does he have special scholarship in this area other than his own anecdotal experience? Let's see his answer.
Well, what's driving it is, the fear. It's fear and narcissism and that fake patriotism that's just nationalism wrapped up, again, with worshiping an idol. But, again, what we can do is with these people that are continuously passing...
Who was your idol when you were a kid? Because I don't think that had anything to do with... Oh, my God, this is crazy.
Conspiracies is we have to realize that Fox News, and I know that this is CNN, but Fox News has completely radicalized so many Americans.
Has it,
if
though?
If you look at Fox News and then you compare that to hate radio from Rwanda and what started that civil war, there's comparisons there. So we have to know that a lot of our fellow Americans...
Oh, my God. Really? It's funny. Sometimes, I don't give a shit about Fox News. Their corporate media is just like everybody else out there selling a product. I mean, sort of, but the idea that he compares it to radio in Rwanda, where they were talking about calling people cockroaches and shit like that, just because they highlight different areas of the news and commentary and have a different slant. To this guy, it's hate radio because he is Blue Anon. He is Blue Anon. This is a conspiracy. This is a Blue Anon conspiracy. But part of the problem is CNN's business model right now. If you ever watch, Brian Stelter and Oliver Darcy on Reliable Sources, that's all they talk about. They spend more time talking about Fox News than they talk about any other news. Anyway.
Americans, fellow children of God, have been radicalized by a network of news that, as a former radical, I can tell you from watching Fox News, I can show you where there's same radical stuff that I used to say.
Really? Do you remember that long ago?
I used to know how to do they used the same stuff. Instead of saying where I would say Jews, they say big media. It's just they swapped out a couple of words here and there, but it's still just radicalization. So that's where we have to look. It's Fox News.
And media does play an important role. How did someone like you get out of that mentality, of that mindset? I mean, that is the question with this being such a big concern about domestic extremisms. How do you get out of that if you're always bombarded?
It's so funny too. How is it that when they say the word domestic extremism, do they not consider the Antifa people domestic extremism? Well, these people don't, because, the FA stands for fascist. They're anti-fascist. Yeah, and the Democratic Republic of North Korea is democratic too. It's so funny. It's all about messaging. It's crazy.
If your views, with your worldview, and conspiracy theories and so forth that just back up what you believe.
He's got his own conspiracy theory. His own conspiracy theory right now. He is spouting a conspiracy theory. Fox News radicalized all these people. Hey, I got an idea. Maybe, and just maybe, how do we know that the people who watch Fox News, because I used to watch Fox News, and it was because it was refreshing to hear a different opinions that were closer to my own. It didn't radicalize me. I just appreciated hearing opinions that weren't Blue Anon, so to speak. I'm just sorry. This is craziness. I'm not going to keep reading. You get the idea. I'll leave this in the tabs if you want. Every show I put every news article that we use in the show, and all the tabs I put into one link that you can find in one place. It'll be at the description down below. It'll also be on the Discord server. Thank you, HP Lovecraft. Appreciate you sponsoring the show today. Who says, I so trust the guy on break in his RV meth lab. Yeah, I kind of, the background does kind of like he's broadcasting out of an RV meth lab. That's hilarious. Anyway, all right, let's let's change gears here because I obviously the show's short a little bit because of the fact that I had technical difficulties at the beginning. Couple funny things. This is what I just thought was hilarious. Burger King is marketing and trying to gain, trying to gain market share. And this morning, was it this morning? Let's see, 3 a.m. this morning, March 8th. They tweeted this out, and I thought this was a fantastic message. Before I do that, though, thank you, Maddie, for the sponsoring the show this morning. I greatly appreciate that. And Maddie,
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
thank you so much. Maddie says, in Bernard Goldberg's book Bias, when he worked at CBS, they would call experts until they found one that would back up their bias. This is nothing new. Absolutely. That is so damn true. And this expert, in his meth lab in the parked out in the back of the Hojo's in somewhere in New Jersey is the expert they chose today. Fantastic. Anyway, Burger King. Now remember what today is. I didn't even realize it until I saw that little header on whatever I was looking at. It is International Women's Day, right? And on International Women's Day, Burger King put out this message. Wait a minute. I gotta resize it so it's all in its glory here. On International Women's Day, Burger King wants you to know that women belong in the kitchen. Now, I understand that wasn't exactly the message that they were intending. And in fact, they immediately followed up with this message. If they want to, of course, yet only 20% of chefs are women. We're on a mission to change the gender ratio in the restaurant industry by empowering female employees with the opportunity to pursue a culinary career. Now, let me just back this up a little bit here. Oh, it says we're proud to be launching a new scholarship program which will help female Burger King employees pursue their culinary dreams. Well, first of all, Burger King and culinary dreams do not belong in the same sentence, okay? I'm sorry, it doesn't. But first of all, let's go to the first message, though. Women belong in the kitchen. Now, there are some people a little salty about this message because, well, first of all, now granted, obviously, controversy sells. They have 340,000 likes, 101,000 quote tweets, 91,000 retweets. This message is clearly viral, okay? And I would be shocked if they were like, well, they don't have them trending, but Burger King is trending right here. Oh, no, that's relevant people. They don't have Burger King trending, but you know that's one of the top tweets of the day that's getting the most interaction. And it's I get what they were trying to do here, but some people are not happy. Now remember, see, if you look at this reminder at the bottom of a Burger King patty looks like this, whatever that is, and ratioed by McDonald's, ratioed by a stuffed cat helicopter. Okay. Proof this could have fit in one tweet. Please don't use sexism as clickbait. The men in my mentions prove the damage you're causing by doing this. Okay, first of all, shut up, you. This is not our Becca, by the way. This is some other Becca. I'm sorry. No, this is not causing any damage. It's just a funny thing. And I thought, when I first saw this, I thought, oh my God, they have some intern doing their Twitter campaign who doesn't really get what this message kind of implies, even though I don't care. You know what? If they, but look, here's, the other part here. When they followed up with, if they want to, yet only 20% of chefs are women. We're on a mission to change the gender ratio in the restaurant industry. Why? Why do we need to change the gender ratio in the restaurant industry? Is there a reason why we need to do that? Could it be that women, for whatever reason, are less likely to want to be in the restaurant industry or in the back of the house of the restaurant industry? Are you going to change the ratio of the front of the house people in the restaurant industry, which are more women than men, probably make more money than the chefs in the back of the industry? Because I know when I was with TGI Fridays, most of the back of the house was men, but there were only like 7 or 8 of them. Most of the front of the house were women. The people who make the tips are the women, and most of the women in the front of the house made more than the men in the back of the house. But even so, if women wanted to be in the industry, there is nothing stopping women from making that choice at all. Are they also, let's see, Burger King, here's something when, let's think about this. Okay, if that's important to change the ratio of the gender ratio in the restaurant, how about maybe we should also change the gender ratio in the veterinarian industry? Okay, because about 85% of veterinarians are women. Should we do that? Should we change that ratio to? Let's make sure that the ratio of veterinarians, men to women, is more even. Oh, what? More women choose veterinary science than men? I did not know that. Why? Well, maybe that's just because their interest. Who cares? Who cares of the gender ratio of anything in any industry? Unless there is absolutely specific reasons that you could name that are discrimination and why people aren't in that industry, who cares? Thank you, Black Cubes Original 8.
That's right.
For sponsoring the show once more this morning. It says, let me get this straight. CNN is interviewing admitted leftist racist who still has skinhead tattoos who blames Fox News for all of their problems.
That's right.
I wonder who's blowing all these dog whistles that only leftists can hear. And then Burger King repealed the 19th.
That's right.
Or if that's because. Anyway, that guy, they cherry picked the guy they wanted, who is not an expert. I mean, other than he's, does whatever the hell he does. Anyway, so anyway, I just found that quite humorous this morning. Real quick, let me check something real quick. By the way, thank you, RVA Dar, also for retweeting the show this morning. And Zach Osborne, let's see what I got here. Oh, she's, let's see. Oh no, I got to see what this is. Thank you, Gamer Valine, for whatever you sent me here. I'm gonna have to check this out. I'll check this out. Okay, we'll check that out a little bit later though. All right, let's see, where was I here? I had some other things I wanted to let's see. Oh, so it's gonna be a little random today because I'm almost out of time. But here, Governor Cuomo signs the emergency power bill in New York. Now, did you hear that Andrew Cuomo has another 2 people who have accused him of whatever he's being accused of? Now, I find it fascinating. Now, and of course, Brooklyn Dad Defiant, who questions the timing. What the hell did I do with his tweet there? Hang on a second here. I want to make sure that that's still in the tabs. But anyway, Governor Cuomo has signed the state legislature's emergency powers bill. Now, this is interesting. They took some power away from Andrew Cuomo. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo announced on Sunday that he's signing the bill passed by the state legislature on Friday that will limit his emergency powers. I think they're tired of the COVID shit. This follows the state legislatures agreeing to deal on limiting the governor's emergency powers on Tuesday. The Senate Democratic majority Friday said this system restores the pre-existing balance of power, ensures genuine checks and balances even during a state of emergency, and mandates a better flow of information between the governor, the legislature, and the state's localities for the remainder of the pandemic. I think they're a little pissed that he didn't tell them about the nursing home, or wouldn't give up the nursing home numbers. Anyway, Senate Republicans said Friday the bill was a sham Oh, and they voted in unison against it. Oh, well, I wonder why they're mad about it. Anyway, the legislation impacts the following. Revoking the governor's authority to issue any new directives, authorizing the governor to extend or modify directives that are currently in effect to respond to the ongoing pandemic, but requires 5 days notice to the legislature or to local elected officials before that extension or modification goes into effect, requiring the governor to respond publicly to any comments they receive from the legislature or from local leaders if a directive is extended, requiring the governor to create searchable database of all executive actions that remain in force to inform lawmakers and the public of the current state of law, allowing the legislature to terminate a state disaster emergency by concurrent resolution. The governor reiterated on Sunday that he does not plan on resigning following allegations of sexual harassment from several aides. Yes, it's up to 5 now. But you know what? A lot of them, again, look, some of them are just like, oh, he hugged me too long and too tight. And, just weird type of stuff. Kind of like when Joe Biden hugged Hillary Clinton coming off the plane, and he wouldn't let go, and it was too tight, and she was kind of like, it was almost like Pepe Le Pew and the cat. She's trying to get away. Speaking of which, here's a funny meme of that of that right here too. There we go. Kind of like that, kind of like that, how the Pepe Le Pew was. He wouldn't let that cat out of his sight. Good morning, bastard beast. Boner hugging. Yes. Yeah, no boner hugging. Just get that thing off of me. All right. Moving on, because I really only have a couple since I'm out of time here. But I do want to go back to Blue Anon. Okay, Blue Anon. And this is a great article at PJ Media that I thought I should just check out here, and obviously I don't have it uncensored, so there we go. Is America at risk from domestic terrorism? Oh, wait a minute, real quick. Thank you, Gamer Valine, for sponsoring the show. Who said tried to be a Twitter troll with Woman's Day. Some dude linked his blog telling women how to be leaders. The irony is amazing. Yeah, I know how that goes. Yeah, it's amazing when you get into a situation, like sometimes you get into a situation, or I'll get into a situation where I'm having an argument with someone on Twitter about something related to people of color, BIPOC, or whatever you want to call it, that includes me. And I'm arguing with some white guy who's trying to tell me how black people should think about this. And I'm like, dude, I'm me, dude, right? Me? God, I'm a black guy, dude. Just shut the fuck up. Trying to tell me how I should think? That's my next video, by the way. Thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite and Black Hebrew Israelite.
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
Who says Burger King repealed the 19th to teach women how to cook simple dishes again?
That's right.
Get your ass back in the kitchen.
That's right.
I am quoting Black Hebrew Israelite. I'm going back someday, come what may, to Blue Anon. Thank you, Avocados Diabli, for getting that song stuck in my head. For those of you who are too young to know, that was Blue Bayou, which was made famous by Linda Ronstadt, although I don't know if she wrote it or if it was something she took from somebody else. But anyway, I don't know who originally wrote the song. And good morning, Zableh. Zableh is in the house. Hello, Zableh. All right, let me finish up here. Are America at risk from domestic terrorist Blue Anon? Seriously, can we possibly believe anything that Nancy Pelosi and the congressional Democrats say? Has anything that they have said during the past 4 years been true? The collusion in the Russian collusion scandal was between the Hillary Clinton campaign, the Democratic leadership, the entire Democratic press, networks, and cable news, and our own intelligence and security agencies. Nor was there any predicate for the accusations against President Trump, but rather it was a rationalization of the resistance. that Democrats proudly announced, as if it were not a violation of the most basic principle of democracy, a peaceful transition of power. From 2016 through 2018, there were enthusiastic daily reports confirming President Trump's collusion with Russians, him being an agent of Putin, and claims that the definitive evidence was about to be revealed. Of course, as we know, there was never any evidence in spite of 2 years of investigation by a special prosecutor and a platoon of partisan Democrat lawyers. Since 2018, there have only been sporadic outbursts claiming that Trump was doing Putin's bidding by Pelosi and her minions for why let a good lie die. Then there were the two impeachments of Trump for entirely imaginary offensive, one being a telephone call with a leader of Ukraine, the other for urging his followers to express their concerns, quote, peacefully and patriotically, end quote. The impeachments, of course, were really for Trump having beaten the female Democratic candidate and rightful owner of the presidency, Hillary Clinton, and having pro-America policies that crashed with Democrat pro-Chinese and pro-United Nations policies from which Democrats have gotten rich, i.e. the Biden crime family. In other words, the impeachments were just the next initiatives in the unconstitutional resistance. For the 2020 presidential election, the Democrats activated a wide variety of dirty tricks, many unconstitutional in the states where they were carried out, which undermined election security and opened many opportunities for manipulation of the vote. Was the election stolen from Trump? ? We cannot know for certain. But the substantial evidence has not been considered and adjudicated. Rather than take up the challenge to protect American democracy, courts, including the Supreme Court, flinched and dodged. And now the Democrats are hoping to pass H.R. 1, a bill that would put control of elections into the hands of Democrats in perpetuity, so that there would never be an honest election in America again. Now let us turn to the armed insurrection by white nationalists at the Capitol on 6th of January. Everything that the Democrats have said about January 6th, including the and the, is a lie. Quote. The claim that Trump incited violence is refuted by what he actually said about being peaceful and patriotic. Keep in mind that demonizing in front of the Capitol or demonstrating in front of the Capitol is standard procedure for many movements and campaigns. Does anyone really believe that a disorganized mob of several hundred unarmed individuals would try or could somehow overthrow the government? 300 of the demonstrators were arrested on January 6th, and none had a firearm. So it is a lie that they were, quote, armed, end quote, and a lie that the riot was a, quote, insurrection, end quote. Democrats repeatedly say that quote, 5 were killed, end quote. They do not mention 2 were Trump supporters who had heart attacks. 1 was a Trump supporter who had a stroke, and the 4th was an unarmed female veteran who was shot dead for illegal entry. Who was the criminal here? The identity of the shooter remains hidden. The Democrats claim a Capitol policeman was murdered by Trump supporters who hit him on the head with a fire extinguisher. This proved to be totally false, and no explanation has been forthcoming as to why the policeman died a day after the riot. No member of Congress was injured, nor was there good reason to believe that any of the rioters intended to attack anyone in Congress. AOC, quote, lived through the riot, end quote, in another building far from the riot, and Rashida Tlaib, also not in the Capitol, gave tearful accounts of how petrified they were because they thought they were near death. After zero contact with rioters. Their reports were not just phony, but ridiculous, bad actresses, and brazen liars. But you cannot fault the Democrats for lack of creativity. Anything that they do not like or feign not to like is, quote, racism. You can be sure that they would get a hamburger that they do not like. They would label it racist. So they have designated the riot a white supremacist riot. Perhaps they prefer a more diverse, mixed-race riot of the kind that they ignored throughout the summer and the fall of 2020. Well, they did not entirely ignore the riots. They urged them on and sent money to spring-arrested rioters. Congress really did not care that the American cities around the country were being destroyed by rampaging mobs dignifying themselves as Black Lives Matter or Antifa. No, the rioting, looting, arson, assaults, and murders were all described by Democrat media and Democrat officials as, quote, mostly peaceful protests. Congressional Democrats did not care that it was mainly Democrat cities being destroyed, as Democrat local state officials required the police to stand down and refused to prosecute any of the criminals. They didn't care that hundreds of small businesses were destroyed and lives ruined, even though many of them were minority businesses and lives for whom Democrats claim to be champions. But do not worry. There is a method in Democrats' madness. All of this for a clear purpose, to transform Democrat power into absolute power. Now that CCP virus fear is declining due to the Trump vaccines, the American citizens may be less passive in the face of Democratic power grabs. A new fear is now needed to cow the population, and here it is. QAnon insurrectionist terrorists. Who are they? According to the Democrats, all 75 million deplorable Trump voters, and some Republicans in Congress as well. The Democrats told us that the domestic terrorist insurrectionists were going to attack all 50 state capitals. But when nothing happened, the Democrats just said it was postponed till next week or next month or next year. Stay alert. The domestic terrorists are plotting against American democracy. Actually, rather than the imaginary QAnon military divisions, it is the Democrats who are plotting against American democracy and doing their best to undermine it through electoral manipulation and through a military occupation of the nation's capital. The Democrats claim to have hated the January 6th Capitol riot, but in fact, they loved it, for it has provided the excuse to militarize their power and move America closer to a one-party state, with the Democrats permanently in charge. And that's an editorial by Philip Carl Salzman at PJ Media. And on that note, I think I got to call it a day because, that's how the day went today because, technical difficulties and all. There also is one more article from Newsweek that I'm not going to get to. It's called How Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committees Have Way Too Much Power. An interesting opinion piece in Newsweek of all places. I've got the archived link in the tabs once I get done here today, which will be down in the description below. If you haven't already done so already, please like this stream. Please like it because holy smokes, did it take a lot of work to even get this thing going today. Also, if you like what we do, share the stream out. Please put it out on the share tab down there, or you can do it on social media, Twitter, Minds, Gab, Parler, or Cloud Hub. I'm on all 5 of those platforms and where I use for notifications. And if you're kicked off of one, go follow me at another. Pretty much anywhere you look, I am at Dawg Knight. But on that note, I gotta go. I wish I had more time just to check out what you're talking about in the chat, but I'm running late today. So thanks for being here, everybody. I do have to leave. My name is Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the Dawg Knight Channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.